Hey guys, Jake here from Wake and Jake. I hope you all are having a fantastic day. Today I want to talk about something a little more serious, something that's frustrating me here. It has to do with the violence of video games and what we are being told we cannot be exposed to, and what the government thinks we are not mature enough to handle. And this all comes after the mass shootings that recently happened. It's been about a week now. I just want to start off by saying mass shootings are obviously a tragedy and are in no way justifiable, not even a little bit. And I'm not here to try to justify anything like that. I just want to give my opinion on what the government here in the good old USA is trying to handle them and point, obviously, the blame toward such things as video games and movies that depict violence. Because there are people such as Kevin McCarthy and Trump who are pointing their fingers primarily toward video games actually, for the blame of the mass shootings. Violence in video games is obviously, it's a scapegoat tactic. They see something that a lot of people are playing, watching, whatever, and they obviously want to point the finger at that. I don't like to get into politics, but instead of fixing the real issues and putting in the work, politicians would rather point the blame somewhere else. Obviously, that's an easier tactic. They'll point out that games such as Call of Duty have graphic images of people hurting, maiming, and killing other humans, which us, the public, obviously are too stupid to make the separation between video games and reality. This is a government that would just as soon draft you and put you in a real world situation where you would have to kill or be killed. But you, as a person, cannot cope with the violence you do in a virtual world without consequences or physical harm to anyone. And we see this even in the private sector. There are certain Walmarts, they have pulled down anything that had a violent video game image on them, such as guns or anything that's playable, even hunting games. And this is stupid because study after study makes no connection between the violence we see and the violence we act out. Studies have found a similar connection between bananas and suicide that tells us so much about these connections here. They are saying that there's a equal enough chance that you will act out violence that you see in video games as there is you committing suicide because of bananas. That is like, what the heck? And the more we try to make connections on what causes people to be violent towards other people, human on human violence has been around a lot longer than violent video games and even violent media. It is unfortunately something that is ingrained in us. We as a society, in a modern society, need to find a way around this problem, around our emotions. If we don't stop blaming violence in the world on things such as video games, the medium will stop progressing. Look at Fortnite's World Cup that recently just happened. That was a huge competitive gaming scene, which was a violent one. You're 100 people on an island, obviously, it's a battle royale, and you are trying to kill each other. Yeah, it's got a light note to it, but it's still a violent video game. And a 16-year-old kid won it. That changed a ton of people's lives right there, forever. There's a 16-year-old with $3 million now. That's what professional gaming could do to people's lives. It could change it forever, just like athletes. But now we have people such as ESPN 2 is postponing its broadcast of an Apex Legends tournament out of respect for the victims of the recent shooting. But I can't help but feel like that, again, is them making a connection between the real world violence and the violence that is in a video game. And this is all based off of the government accusing video games, all based off of a loose connection off of the recent mass shooting, because of the shooter spoke about Call of Duty in his notes. This is what's frustrating with the way the government is treating our form of entertainment. They take an isolated situation and attach them to an agenda and they run with it. Now, uninformed parents and the masses alike will agree with a thought, and it's happened before. I mean, look at rock music and metal music. That was considered, quote unquote, the devil's music, and would corrupt the masses and make your children practice Satanism and witchcraft in the 80s. I mean, it was huge. And I can't help but feel like they're trying to patronize video games in such a way as well. I mean, obviously, none of that stuff happened, and I can't foresee violent video games making us all more violent. And I'll stop by saying this isn't an easy fix, it's not an easy solution. It's not an easy topic to talk about, and there probably isn't one clean-cut solution, but we all can agree that something needs to be done. And blaming video games, movies, etc., music, obviously hasn't worked in the past, and it's still not going to work in the future. We need to solve these issues at a more psychological level. Alright guys, thanks for watching. Again, I've been Jake with Wake and Jake. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know what you guys think about all this and the tragedy that happened. Alright, peace. Be safe.